Okay, so I'm going to make a Astros tumbler today. I got a very ugly cup here, but you know, we're about to make it pretty. And this is just for the video purposes, but I got my epoxy. I got a good amount. You always want a lot of epoxy for swirl tumblers, acrylic swirl method, because you need the paints and the epoxy to mix together, so you need a good amount on there. So we're going to put that and separate it into 3 cups. So we're doing Astros colors. So we have white, orange, and navy blue. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the most in the lightest color, because you want that as a base color. You want to put that on first by itself, and then drizzle the other 2 colors, and you know, to give them, that way they don't mix, because some people do it differently. They mix all 3 and swirl it, and then, you know, smear them all together, and they make a funky color. So it's best to just start with 1 color, and I'll show you what I mean, and then drizzle the other 2 colors or 3 colors. And you want like the lightest or brightest color. So we're gonna do white is our main color, because the other 2 will kind of take over. You want to pour, you know, maybe like a teaspoon in there. Oops, I forgot to open that one. You don't want too much paint, because if you do too much, then it will be, sorry, I'm trying to open this thing right quick. I'm going to mix my colors. You don't want to put too much paint in there, because then the color or the epoxy will get really thick. So I'm mixing my white. I already mixed my epoxy, and you want your epoxy to be warm. So like use a heat gun while you're mixing your epoxy, or hair dryer, whichever you have, because then it's thin. The epoxy's not thick, because the thinner it is, the more it will swirl. So I got my white. It's a good white. I'm gonna mix my orange. Pretty orange. And don't worry about the bubbles, because you know, you're gonna heat them up. You're gonna heat that cup up, so the bubbles aren't gonna really be hanging out. And actually, anytime I see bubbles in it when I'm swirling it, the bubbles kind of give it a little cool looking effect. See, this epoxy, I put too much paint. It's kind of thicker, so it's a little bit more tacky. So you don't want it too much like that. So we're gonna have to work fast, because as soon as you put the paint in, it's gonna get funky. So start with your white and just spread it all over the cup. I mean, it's gonna look, you're gonna see the metal behind it. You don't have to do a base paint if you want to. If you're doing like metallic-y colors or glittery like acrylics, you're definitely going to want a base, because those paints are thinner and the color's not as vibrant. So use your white and get it all over the cup. And get all of it. Just dump it all in there. I mean, if you feel like you want to leave some in the cup, just a little bit, just in case you get a little too, you know, extra with the paints in the other colors. But generally, I mean, you can eyeball it. And you can always like hurry up and mix more epoxy if you don't have enough, and add some more. But you see how sticky the paint's getting? You have to work fast. So the paint does something funny with it, the epoxy. But yeah, you want a lot of epoxy because the thicker the epoxy, the better it will flow. I mean, you don't want to gob it on there. You want too much because then it'll kind of, you know, usually it gets heavy around the rim or around the top if you do put too much. But just get that base color in. Some people swirl it on it at the beginning and then, you know, mix it or use a spatula, but then it forms a brown or a whatever color you mix together, or pink if you... This one probably looked brownish because of the different colors mixed together, but I don't do that because I don't like that other color in there. I only want orange, white, and blue. So then you just take a color and you just kind of popsicle stick it on there. The whole thing, and get all the white, not the white spaces, but try and make it even looking. Weird. And try to get the bottom too. But you just kind of make it real random. See, it's getting all stringy. And the blue is going to be probably pretty stringy too. I try to cover up as much as the white as possible. I also try to evenly distribute the colors. And you know, if it doesn't come out the first time, you can always do another layer. And it, you know, it's okay. But you do the same procedure with it. Start with a base color, then work with, yeah, my paints are, I put too much paint in my stuff. It's kind of thick, but it works. We can still make it work. And see, it looks funny right now, but once you warm it up, the key is warming it up. Once you warm it up, it starts flowing around the cup and it starts mixing. And that's the part where it looks cool and it looks marbly like. And even now it looks very abstract. There's a white spot right here. And a blue. Okay, so now that I got that all on there, you just warm it up. And just warm it, and you'll start to see the epoxy move. You can also make your turner start turning the other way, and it'll kind of give it a different effect. Some people just make the turner stay going one way, or you can try and get it to go the other way after a while. And it'll, see, this is starting to run right here, and you just want it to start running. And warm it up, warm it up, warm it up. It also keeps it from being bumpy because you have a random, but the more you warm it up, the more it'll flow. But you don't want to warm it up too much because then it'll start dripping off the cup. So just once you start see it moving in places, move to a different area. Get that one going. See, it's starting to do its little thing. It looks cool now. And if it doesn't look all the way mixed, just give it a while and you'll see it takes some time to get it really mixed. I need to put some more, if I can get some blue here on the bottom. I forgot my bottom. Don't forget the bottom. The bottom of the cup gotta look pretty too. But see, the colors are somewhat mixing, but they're not getting funny. See, I got a lot of blue up here. I'm probably gonna add some orange. I'm gonna put some orange up here because The blue the darker colors will overtake. So you want more of the bright colors and less of the dark colors. And that's why you want to use a light color as a base, because that way those other colors pop. Ooh, it's starting to look pretty. But you want it to flow, flow, flow. That's why they call it the flow glitter. Well, you can do this with glitter or paint, either one. Now, if you do it with glitter, definitely do a base paint color, because the glitter, you know, is not going to be as vibrant as a paint. So you'll need a base paint on the cup to do a glitter one. See, I got it too hot now and my cup's starting to drip down here. So what I'm going to do is make it go the other way. It'll eventually stop dripping, but not when I did too much. But now I'm going to go the other way with it, so it'll kind of do some fancy looking stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to let it, you know, do its thing. I'll warm the bottom a little more. Yeah, if you heat it up too much, this is what it does right here in the center. It starts swirling together and making a new color. So I try not to do that. But like I said, this cup is a scrap cup. It's a beat up cup, so I just wanted to use it as an example. But it still looks pretty. So there it is. And I will take a picture after it stops moving, because it will probably move for a little bit and create its mixture. But it looks good. Could have probably done a little more orange here and there. But like I said, you can always do another layer. If you don't like the way it came out, you can try one more layer and do it the same way. And make it look different. No two cups will ever come out the same, so it looks good though.